Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I figured I'd do another video today. Something that's been knocking around in my head for a while. I'm thinking of trying to get into the practice of doing more content. So, while I figure out the direction of this channel, so I figured I'd do something here. I was in the gym today, and I was just thinking of the subject of people finding that there's not enough media out there right now to consume. I don't mean in a condescending way, like, oh, it must consume products and things like this, but
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next products.
everyone enjoys music, film, literature, things like that, right? And I see a common complaint is that there's just nothing good out these days. And I can kind of agree with that, man. Because I went to see Nosferatu the other day. Not doing a review on it, I think. It's a good film. 8 out of 10. Maybe even a 9. Anyway, so go see it if you are into that type of thing. But the point is, I haven't been to the cinema in I don't know how fucking long, man. I was sitting there, it felt like a surreal experience, since I haven't been to the cinema in I think the last film I saw was one of the Hobbit films, and then I left. I didn't even finish watching it. It was so shit. So I was just thinking how people complain nowadays that there's just nothing good coming on, and I can kind of agree with it. So for context, I'm 37 now, right? So I grew up in a different generation. I'm a millennial, right? But like an old soul millennial. So by that I mean it's like I grew up watching older media than I should have. I grew up with stuff from like the 80s, Predator, Terminator, all this type of stuff. And it was always great to see something new come out. But I haven't been enthusiastic for anything in such a long goddamn time. I can't remember the time where I was like, God damn, oh, they're making this film. Like Predator. I love the first two films. AVP is also good, right? In my book, not as great, not as iconic, but I'll watch it if it's on. But they're making a new Predator film, and I just don't care, because the last films have just been shit. It's just as simple as that, man. Same with like music. It's just I haven't been excited. Like, oh wow, Linkin Park. I love my new metal, right? Linkin Park, Meteora, Hybrid Theory. I probably listened to that. Like statistically, if you had to look at my listen count, I've probably listened to that more than anything, right? They just got back together. I didn't give a shit. I checked them out. I was like, alright, they're back together. What else? I think you've gotten the idea that I'm saying, right? It's just, if you're an older person, like a millennial or such, like if you're Gen Z, I don't know, I can't speak for that. But if you're like millennial and older, when's the last time you were like, God damn, I'm excited for that, Because I grew up, when I graduated high school in 2005, but like before then, 2004, 2003, it's just like, oh wow, they're making that. That's coming out. That's awesome. And then afterwards, my first job was in a DVD store, rentals and stuff, like Blockbuster, right? And then it was just like great films coming out. I was just like, yeah, oh my God, that's so awesome. And now it's not like that at all. It's just that I don't look forward to stuff. And I don't think it's just because I suddenly don't care about films. I don't care about music. I don't care about video games or something. I like all this stuff, I do, but there's just not much there to look forward to. I can't reiterate that enough, and I don't think it's just that I got like cynical or something, because I can just discover new films. Like I just watched Squid Game. There's something very normy. There's a bit of an exception, but I was like, damn, that's good. I watched a film also the other day, The Eternal Fighter, a Japanese film about a kamikaze pilot, right? And I was like, damn, that's awesome. What else is there? So I'm out there. I'm looking for new stuff, but everything that's just produced, it's like the quality has dropped so badly. Now we just like fucking remakes, rehashes, this and that and the other thing, derivatives, and I'm not even getting into the leftist shit that's like influenced everything. Like if you're a Star Wars fan or a Star Trek fan, I'm neither of those things. I love Lord of the Rings. I remember seeing those all in the cinema, just like crystal clear. And now you see Rings of Power. It's fucking disgusting, man. So even if you disregard that, it's just like there's nothing there. So what's the solution? That's the point of this video. Is I wanted to make like a PSA. What's the solution? You know, if you're like, someone's like, I want more media. Stop looking forward. Look behind you. This is what I'm pointing out here, right? Look behind you. Stop looking forward to what's coming and look behind. Look at what's already been created. Look at the music that's already been created. The films, the literature, whatever your thing is that you are into, you know, look behind you, because as chances are it was the product from the past is much, much fucking better than anything that's going to be produced today.
There's exceptions.
But if you turn around and you look behind at all the media that is being produced, say now, movies. I mean, since the silent age, I know that it can be a bit tough, like, to adjust if you're like growing up in this era, and suddenly, you know, you're like balls deep in like black and white films where it's all silent and all this. It's a rough thing to transition to. I can understand that, but like the 90s, the 80s, or even like the early 2000s, man, it's like films from then. It's from a different world, and it's just the quality was much higher, I think, because now everything's just sort of accepted that it's going to be shit. And I think studios just stopped caring, you know. They just, whatever, it's just marketing. I'm convinced a lot of it is just like some fucking tax fraud these days, man. You know, it's just people don't care anymore. And everything's just sort of forgotten as soon as it's produced. You know, it's just the next thing is coming. So who cares? So look behind and look at the old films. Look at the old music. Whatever, you know. And you might be thinking, well, there's just a few things. Fuck no. The catalogs of music, whatever, is massive. It's absolutely fucking massive. Say now you're into, I don't know, something niche, black metal, right? And then you're like, there's no great new black metal albums coming out. You look around, there's probably tens of thousands of albums which have great quality, you know, out there that you'd be into. If you're like, I don't know, that applies for anything, right? I'm just tired of people like looking forward and like, there's nothing to watch, there's nothing to listen to. Bullshit. If you just look around at the past and you look at this content, I think you won't hunger for anything new anymore, right? If something new comes along and it's good, it'll surprise you. And it's like, oh, nice surprise. Like I watched Nosferatu. Nice surprise, you know? And I don't want to hear anything about nostalgia goggles either, because that's bullshit. I grew up in South Africa, and I didn't have cable TV. We had like 4 channels, and what was on was on. I didn't have like DVDs or anything like that. I had VHS at best, and you had to rent the tapes. I had like a PlayStation, and I had an NES, and that was it. I didn't have a gaming computer. I was a big reader, so I just didn't really care about these things. And now I have, you know, you can download any game you want, like PS2 games. I never had a PS2. I had a PS1, and that was like really the old one. I had like 4 games. That was it, you know. And now I have access to all these PS2 games that I never had access to back then. I'm playing them, and they're fucking awesome. Yeah, if you don't like the look of them, you can get an emulator and put some filters over, polish it up. It looks great, you know. And these are great games, you know. The same goes for if you want to listen to music. You know, now you have Spotify, yeah, but you also have like Pirate Bay. Can you even say that on YouTube? You know, you can access any album you want, films. You don't have to rely on what's streaming, you know, because nowadays you go on what's streaming, and then that's what you get. But you can download any film. You can go buy a DVD, you know. So I think that you can't just say it's nostalgia. Oh, things were back better in the past, says the 37-year-old boomer. Bullshit. I didn't grow up with a lot of the stuff, you know. I had, you know, maybe I rented a film once a week. My parents let me have a film once a week. I had an NES console with like a couple games, a PS1 console with a couple games, and I had a Discman, and shitty internet. South African internet back then, where the modem sounds like it's having an aneurysm, and it takes you like 2 hours to download one song. That's what I had, man. So now I'm exposed to all this old stuff thanks to high-speed internet. You can just download anything. There's no nostalgia goggles. I think like people also just used to now just getting bombarded. There's this agony of choice. There's just too much, right? So you just get inundated with it, and it kind of makes you numb. I also think it makes people a lot more passive, in the sense that you just sit there and you get drip fed from 100 different tubes. If you don't like that, you just turn to the other thing. And I think that's kind of sad, because it's a theory that I have, is that back in the day when things were more limited, right, you had to save up to buy a CD, an album, or whatever. You didn't have just like massive streaming services and all this type of thing. You had a limit to what you could access in any sense, right? And because of that, if you watch, for example, okay, you listen to an album, right, and you're like, holy shit, this album's amazing, right? Like, take Hybrid Theory from Linkin Park, great album, great, right? And you listen to that. So nowadays you listen to that, the Spotify's like, oh, here's like 10 other fucking albums you'd like to listen to, and then you just get down the rabbit hole, and then you get like overwhelmed by this the amount of choice, right? But back then you listen to that and it's like, damn, that's awesome, I want more. But all you had is like the what are people talking about on the schoolyard, like, oh, this album's also good, maybe it's Korn, or maybe people don't like it. So what's your option? You think, I want more of this, I can't have access to it, so maybe I'll make my own. And that's something I think that's having like an effect as well on creativity this day and age, is that people just consume. But back then it's like, this is fucking awesome, I don't have unlimited access to more of the same stuff or similar stuff, because maybe you just don't know about it, maybe you read about it in a magazine or whatever, but that's it. It's not like today. So maybe people will be like, what, I'm going to make my own. I'm going to pick up a guitar, I'm going to learn that. Or maybe you read a great book or something. Like, look at Lovecraft, right? He was doing his stuff, and then people loved it, right? And then they're like, oh, I'm going to write a Lovecraftian story, right? That's just how it is, back then. Clark Ashton Smith, Robert E. Howard, they all said, oh, Lovecraftian horror, that's cool, I'm going to try some. And boom, you got the Lovecraft mythos with people contributing. I think that's something that's missing today, because people are just like reliant on like big corporations and shit, just to like funnel you, like you're one of these fucking geese where they make the foie gras. They just stuck the tube down its throat and it's like, bluk, bluk, bluk. They fatten it up just so they can eat its, what do they eat? It's liver, right? Liver, goose liver, I think. Anyway, I'm going on a little bit too much. Anyway, that's just my opinion on this subject, and I figured I'd bring it out to you guys, see what you think. So the moral of the story is, if you're like jonesing for like, I need some more stuff, and you see that modern day cinema is shit, it's just a letdown if it isn't some fucking propagandized shit, and you want to enjoy some quality time to watch something. Don't watch some brain rot crap just like because some fucking normie at your work says, oh, did you see the latest episode of Game of Thrones or something? No, just look behind, look to the past, and look how great the stuff was back then. And it's not nostalgia goggles, I promise you. There might be some rough stuff, like if you're used to like ultra HD 4K streaming with high speed, and then you watch something and it's in like 4:3 ratio perspective, you'll be like, oh, what is this? Is this my grandpa's entertainment? Or with video games and everything, you gotta have like the top of the range graphics card for the ultra realistic visuals. Just try play something like from the PS2 era or PS3, because even that's like now quote unquote vintage. Just a thought, guys. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll get back to you soon with another video of the pointless things in my head. Cheers.